Hi, and on today's video, first of all, I'd like to apologise to all the people that have tuned in to watch a tech video. Unfortunately, this won't be one. I wanted to interrupt my normal broadcasts and messages and just do a very important one that's close to my heart. And I wanted today to talk about mental health. Now, I need to make it very clear I'm not qualified to talk about this. I don't have any certifications, degrees, or any other knowledge apart from my own experience or experience of my peers and friends and family that I can talk about. However, because the large number of my demographic happen to be in this area, then I thought it was a really clear and important message for me to get across. You will certainly hear the term, it's okay not to be okay. And I genuinely mean that. And I think anybody who ever spoke that message or read that clear message that people have put out there is 100% accurate. Now, I'm a man and I've always deemed myself to be what I would believe is a mentally strong person. And I used inverted commas for a reason because, let's be honest, nobody is totally mentally strong. People may have gifts which gives them the ability to be able to block out challenges in their life, but in realistic terms there's always something that will affect you in one way, shape or form. In life there's many stressors, from your family life to your health, friends and family, your work, money and the unknown. And that's just to list a few. A lot of stress and anxiety is caused obviously by the lack of control or sense of lack of control of a situation, or the worry and anxiety of obviously getting into a situation, or some of the pressures around that situation. And a lot of that can be either helped or hindered by individuals you come across. So things that happen to you in your general life, whether it be discrimination, abuse, harassment, all of them play a part in stress and anxiety. And not in a good way, in a very detrimental way. So when you ever feel about that you're potentially discriminating, hating or abusing someone, just maybe stop and think, well, actually, what am I doing to that individual? How am I affecting them? Because not everybody's scars are war on the outside. And again, it's not a bad thing and nothing anybody should be ashamed of. Do you think it's easy for me to stand here and talk about my own mental health challenges at times? Now, my mental health challenges have always just sitted around stress and anxiety, and I'll come on to those in a moment. But for many years, I always believed that I would never suffer from them. Boy, was I wrong. And boy, did I underestimate the challenges that they cause you on a day-to-day basis. You sometimes hear the term and phrase that people are weak if they suffer from these. Now, that it couldn't be further from the truth. I would actually potentially flip that one around and say, well, realistically, if you've ever suffered from them, it will make you more self-aware about you as a person. But it also helps you become a stronger person in the long run. And you may not feel like that at the moment, but certainly I will explain from my experiences how it's helped and developed me as a person. Now, I can talk about exactly when it happened, but for me to protect identities, businesses I may have worked for, etc., I'm not going to give too much away, but the fact I can say that I've definitely experienced stress and anxiety caused by a workplace. Now, from my point of view, a lot of people would think working in IT or the tech industry that mine would be the pressure of having too much work. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. I actually enjoy having a lot of work and a lot of stuff to get my teeth into, because I've always been one that likes to overachieve and over-succeed on everything I do and deliver. So that part couldn't be further from the truth. In some ways, I actually work better under that level of pressure. And we kind of, if you go and actually look at how work pressures and stuff work, then that's where you'd look. You'd certainly look in that kind of what's good pressure versus bad pressure. Mine actually comes from a very different level, and it kind of fits into that abuse, discrimination and hate. Now, that doesn't mean that I feel like I've been abused at work or I've been hated, But what I'd like to say is I was probably at least two places in my career managed by what I would like to call 90s style, or other people refer to as seagull management. Now, what does that term mean? Now, they use the term 90s management because I'll be honest, when I first got into management in the early 2000s, I was taught that way. I was taught the whole, you have to deliver. Nothing else matters. Deliver on your targets. And I used to trample over people. I used to step on people's toes. Anything you could possibly do to get ahead. And it's one of those things you hear about the tech industry. Oh, it's cutthroat. It's cutthroat. You have to tread on toes. You have to break a few eggs. Nonsense, you don't. If you want to succeed in this day and age, yes, sometimes you have to take risks. Sometimes you have to be brave. But certainly not at the detriment to others. In no way, shape or form should you ever hurt the people that work alongside you, or work for you, or work above you. Because realistically, they are going to be your biggest chances of success. So I'd like to say, from my reflection, a lot of that was done by people not really being leaders to me, but more management. And there's a massive different term on that. And then we start to talk about workplace culture. Now, I, again, am not qualified to talk about workplace culture. Thankfully, I know people that are. And if you really want to learn a little bit more about workplace culture, you can always go and see my friend Sean at Craft Your Culture. The link is just there. Now, he didn't know I was going to do this video originally. I did message and reach out to him on LinkedIn just to say, look, Sean, I'm going to be kind of talking a little bit about stress and anxiety and mental health. And obviously you're doing a lot about culture, and mine kind of fits into that realm. So I will certainly send people your way. So in no way, shape or form has he asked me to do this. It was just an opportunity for, somebody that I've known for many, many years to kind of talk about their wares and what they do. So kudos to you, Sean, because as I'll talk about in a moment, culture plays a massive part in our life today, particularly in the workplace when it comes to stress and anxiety. Now, to talk about mine, what it kind of done to me was it got to the point where I couldn't get up in the morning. I felt sick to the stomach every day, dreaded going into work. Even got to the point where I dreaded the weekends, which sounds insane, doesn't it? Because your weekends were, your free time. So pretty much every day become a dread. Now, if I did like what I did, I went down to my doctor. The doctor just basically said to me, right, go and get these pills. I prescribed you these. Me being me, though, was like, no, because that's just putting a Band-Aid or a plaster on a problem that's not going to go away by just covering it up with pills. And I would probably say to you today, if you're on pills, if they're working for you, absolutely fine. By all means, take them if it helps reduce the pain. I suppose it's no different if you injured yourself and you're taking ibuprofen. Ever think about, is that pain going to go away if I just completely and constantly self-medicate? It probably isn't. So the way that I've, I'd use the term overcome, but I wouldn't say overcome because I still have to manage it daily, or sometimes manage it whenever I feel like I'm stuck in that situation, is I went and spoke to someone, and I was quite fortunate that I got a cognitive therapy session, or at least 3 that I was booked in to do. I never actually attended the second 2 because I actually had a major breakthrough in my first one, to the point that the guy turned around to me and said, my God, you know exactly what's wrong. This is going to be the easiest session I ever do, which was quite nice to know and quite nice to hear. And his words were, well, actually, maybe one day, Andy, we could swap roles and you can come and sit in this chair and listen to people. Now, I'd love to do that, but that's certainly not something I specialise in, and neither would I, because I think for me it'd bring back too many painful memories. But what I thought I'd do is use this opportunity to use my platform for good, because my demographic, like I mentioned, is a very certain area. And I know particularly with men, and I'm not discriminating against women there because women 100% get it, but men definitely have a stigma around mental health. And I think it's a stigma we need to change. So yeah, talking about myself, I got to the stage that I really couldn't face getting up in the mornings. You find that various things go wrong. So because your brain's so connected to your stomach, you start getting challenges there. You start feeling physically sick. I used to go lightheaded when I went outside. even become a little bit socially awkward, which is not me at all. So from my point, that was really, really difficult. It's taken quite a while to kind of realise, understand and appreciate. And to be honest, each time I've kind of ever had an episode, it sounds odd, but I've gone and had a conversation with people, just talked about my problems, and they always say a problem shared is a problem halved, and that is totally the case. But in some times I've just basically gone and taken myself away and stared into the mirror. Sounds a bit crazy, doesn't it? And just had that conversation with myself, just relayed it back. Pretty much like I'm doing with this camera really now. All I'm doing is talking to a camera to explain my experiences. But even now, talking about it is helping me. So this is kind of what I wanted to do with this video, is I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of use my platform to deliver a message which I think is really, really important these days. That if you are struggling for any reason, shape or form, talk to someone. Do you know what? If you want to talk to me, just maybe reach out. There are ways to reach out to me. I will have a Discord channel very soon. But, I can certainly talk about my experiences. I work with colleagues and friends today that certainly are challenged with this kind of thing. And, I will quite often lend my ear to them because, I've been through it, I've experienced what they've done. And I've always said, if you ever get to the point in your role, in your life, in your job, that you struggle to get up and you don't want to go in, you dread going to work, then that's the time for change. Now, that doesn't mean the role I've just left was like that, because it absolutely wasn't, and I want to make that very crystal clear. The reason I'm changing jobs at the moment is because I've got an amazing opportunity. But it's something I just want you to think about, that in any way, shape or time in your life, you're going to struggle with stress and anxiety. It may be related to work, it may be related to your personal life, changes in your life, where you get married, divorced, having kids. It's very stressful. Moving house, blimey, one of the most stressful things ever in the UK, that. But it's okay not to be okay. And I want you to just take the time and think, well, is this me? Is it something I'm going through? And if it is, go and talk to someone. And better still, if you, with your friends, your peers, whatever, maybe after watching this, just reach out, see how they are. Because not everybody, one, wears their heart on the sleeve, and two, not everybody with their scars, with their pain, will show it. Thank you.